Hello and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Parr, and this podcast is all about shining the light on different perspectives, reclaiming our power and remembering the truth of who we are. Whether you're just beginning your spiritual awakening or walking the path of embodiment, this space is here to hold real, raw, and transformative conversations. Today's guest is someone whose presence speaks to the depth of her work. Cristalle is a woman who bridges worlds spiritual, emotional, and physical. Her ability to hold space for deep soul level healing while staying grounded in the body is something I truly admire. Cristalle is a multidimensional practitioner, intuitive medium, and modern day medicine woman. She draws on a rich blend of healing modalities from her background in contact care, Flint Shock Release, to her work as a medical intuitive, to her deep ancestral and shamanic connection with spirit. Her offerings guide both men and women of all ages through trauma release, energetic clearing, and a reconnection and remembrance. So soul reconnection and remembrance. She supports the clients to activate their inner power, access their soul wisdom, and step into greater alignment with their divine purpose. Through her work as a medium and energy alchemist, Cristalle creates profound shifts, both subtle and seismic, for those she serves. She is also the founder of Activate Academy and the Healing Arts Foundation, where she mentors others to unlock their healing gifts and embody the medicine they're here to share. If something sparks in you after watching this, please hit that follow button. Please like and share and get this wisdom out there. We are so blessed and privileged and pleased to have you watching this. Thank you, and we hope you enjoy. Cristalle, it's such a gift to have you here. Thank you for being here with us.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling me in, and I look forward to seeing what we talk about today.
Awesome. All right, so let's begin with your journey. When did you first realize you had a connection to spirit?
That's kind of a hard question because the realization of having a connection to spirit was probably about 7 or 8 years ago, but hindsight, looking back, there's been many moments that I just didn't realize. I just thought it was normal. So yeah, in terms of really stepping into it and feeling it and stepping into the healing arts, is I had a moment in an astrology workshop when I first met and felt one of my spirit guides, who I can feel right now. He's coming in. It's making me really emotional. He feels honoured because I've spoken of him first, because I could go on many tangents. Yeah, a big Aboriginal man came to me, and I was in the meditation in the course and I didn't want to get out of it. And that was my moment of knowing, really feeling. And just like this feeling of unconditional love that you can't describe, that's just... And then it becomes a bit of a, I don't want to say addiction, but you are chasing that feeling and you're wanting to connect more and more and more. And so being a Aries manifesting generator, just every second minute of my day was consumed with learning about everything in the unseen, everything to do with energy, everything to do with healing, just so many different concepts and beliefs and quantum physics and all that type of thing. I just threw myself in.
And how long did you do your training before you actually stepped into practicing?
This is going to sound quite... Some people will judge this comment and it might sound controversial, but I went and did my first contact care Flint Shock Release course in Gisborne, in Natia. I was living in Gisborne, New Zealand. And I went there with the attitude of, I'm going to get this. I'm going to be fucking awesome at this. And I'm going to take it back to Gisborne and I'm going to share it with the people. On the first weekend of the course, I got it. It just landed. I got it and I was seeing results. I went home at lunchtime. I practiced on my friends in my lunch break. That night, worked on my mates all night in Natia, because I grew up in Natia. Went to Hauraki Plains College in Natia, of all places, where contact care was found. So all my friends were there. We even went for a mission out to Kaial, cranking like our old school beats, and we all went out together and got a massage table for me. And that was it. Never looked back. Took it back to Gisborne and was doing sessions for koha. I threw myself into the rugby club, the squash club, anyone that would let me work on them. I'd take my table around to people's houses and just see everyone sitting around, even drinking, I'm like, get on the table, let me Contact care was really focused on the physical pain, sore neck, back, sciatica, blah, blah, blah. It's much deeper than that, but in that stage, I was just focused on releasing the physical pain, and it was working, and I was having crazy results. Before I knew it, I was being paid. Before I knew it, I was booked out 2 months in advance. Within all that, I was still going to contact care courses and trainings. Now, if you narrow it down to a focused core training, you do 5 courses, foundation courses, including animals. You've got to do 2 animal courses, and then you go into practitioner, and then you go into advanced practitioner. So overall, with the hours and the trainings and the da-da-da, you're looking at 3 years. But it's within your own time frame. You choose the weekends you want to go and do the courses, the foundation ones anyway, and there's lots of different instructors over New Zealand that teach it. But yeah, that reverting back to your question is I started straight away because I got the formula, I got it, and I was getting results instantly. And the saying I say to my students or clients or people is you can't learn to drive a parked car. You just have to get in and do it. And if you're doing no harm and you're doing it from the love of your heart and it is your gift, then do it. And in terms of the energy exchange, well, that comes down to your heart space and the comfort that you feel in that space. Like I said, I started out with Koha, then my first client started paying me 40, then it went to 60, 80, now I'm just 150, not just, as in I'm 150 an hour, that's it. Like there's no questions asked. So, and in that time, you evolve as a person, you're changing your living, different like costs go up, all sorts of things are happening, so you kind of are adjusting. Yeah, in a nutshell, that's what happened. And then I got employed at the local rugby club, Ngātapa Rugby Club in Gisborne, and I worked on the premier rugby team for 2 years, and that's where I got really interested in specialising in concussion. Yeah.
Can we just tap back into the difference between, say, going, and I think it's just about aligning the difference between going from training at school to training in the spiritual space, just how different that looks.
To be honest with you, contact care would never be called a spiritual space. Mm-hmm. Many of us energy workers would beg to differ, but in that space it's very black and white and it's practical and hands-on. So that's the difference.
So going from doing your contact care work and then sort of going more into your intuitive space of mediumship, clairvoyancy, how did that kind of link up for you?
Well, this is a story that I don't often tell because the powers that be in the contact care world might not want me sharing this, but I'm going to because it feels like it needs to be shared.
Good journey.
So when I was in the course, I was worked on by Dale Speedy, who's a master healer. He was a Reiki 6-Dan. He's a 6-Dan black belt, is a Reiki master. So he was doing all that energy work before he founded Contact Care. And when he put his hands on me, something happened. In the spiritual world, we'll call it an activation or a download or a whatever, attunement. And it was after that moment, and I straight away, when I got off the table of we had all had 1 flintlock release each. I could each person that went up, I could feel where their pain was, and then I knew where the flintlock was that the practitioner was going to go to release. Every single one, 20 people. And I was like, what the hell is happening to me? Like, how do I know this? So it was like my intuition or my gifts were just turned on or amplified, or I was listening to them more. So that's sort of that space. Now going back to the difference between normal training and thing, things change so much. Like I can only lean back into when I was at university. I went to Otago University for 5 years and studied phys ed and anatomy and physiology, hence my interest in the human body, and then became a high school phys ed teacher. Now the difference back then was all I cared about was getting on the piss and having a good time and becoming a PE teacher so I could play sports all day and have holidays. Like that was my thoughts. And then, but stepping into the spiritual arts and learning in these different trainings, it's real in the moment, it's hands-on, it's you feel the energy, you're getting the confirmation, you're feeling the energy from the other people. Like you've been to my workshop and I've been to many other workshops, and it's the realness, it's the connection of the people, it's the real life stuff happening in real life in that moment. training in other places and outside of the spiritual arts, I guess, is just a lot of theory, and it's like ticking boxes. I don't know, to me, it's just empty. It's just got nothing there that I'm interested in. And it was boring, and I didn't apply myself. But when you find something that you absolutely love and you can feel and you feel is real and you're getting results and da 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 da, then you just, you can't not go with it. Yeah, sorry, I hope that answered your question. But what was the second part of that we were talking about? And I went on another tangent again.
Well, what I do want to ask you is, you talked a little bit about, drinking, so alcohol and drugs and that kind of side of things. Not saying you didn't say drugs, but
Oh, there's been drugs.
where is that placed in the spiritual world and your spiritual practice in your world today?
In my world today, before I fully stepped into the spiritual arts as my full-time role, I was a big drinker. I was a binge drinker with the nickname Feral Cheryl, and I was a good time. I was a fun time. As I was shifting into the healing arts and doing a lot of energy work and healing work, the drinking just naturally fell away because the energy, I was in, this is what I believe with alcohol and spiritual, okay? This is just my take on it. I was being my true, authentic self, happily. When you're drinking alcohol, it's like you can become your true, authentic self. You drop your barriers a bit. You're a bit more less filtered or giving a fuck about what other people think, right? So it's like when you've stepped fully into your true purpose and your true self and can be your true self in any situation, any moment, it's like alcohol does the opposite thing. It makes you feel out of control of your energy, and you don't like that. Also, when I go to drink now, which I very rarely do if I do have a couple or whatever, but I get this it's like this speed flash from, this feels really good right now and it's going to feel really good in an hour, and then tomorrow you're going to feel like shit and your energy is going to be horrible. And I'm doing energy work all the time. I'm tuning in all the time. So I don't want to feel that. And I know what it feels like to wake up every day feeling fucking amazing, super happy, no stress, no anxiety, no depression, So like when I drink, and when I used to drink heavy, those two, especially when you're getting older, I'm 41 now, that those days afterwards that you have that anxiety and like, what am I doing with my life? All those thoughts and feelings that go on that most people will be able to relate to if they're listening to this. And so it's almost like I can't. My energy, I can't, and it makes me sick. If I have one glass of wine, I'm up all night, my heart rate's up, I feel sick, I can't sleep, I wake up shit. So it's like, if I'm going to do it, I might as well go hard, but I don't. And so it's like, it's easier just not to do it. It just doesn't, like, I can go to a festival, I can go to a pub with everyone drinking and be up dancing, and no, I don't need alcohol to have fun. I don't need alcohol to give me confidence. And the work that I've done, it's like allowed me to just be that all the time and step into my true self. And when, like I said at the start, being your true authentic self with zero fucks really, in terms of as long as you're not hurting anyone, then that's like the ultimate. That's the energy frequency you want to be in above. It's even above love, Yeah.
It is.
So that's the alcohol chat. Like, and then, just for awareness, I'm actually trying to get into Rhythm and Vines this year to set up a soul, what would I call it? Soul bar, where people can come and have a little intuitive reading and me do a little hangover healing release for them and stuff. And no, I'm not encouraging it, but I want to get them there so that I can teach them about intention. Like, if you are going to do this shit, why are you doing it? And if you are going to be doing some like alcohol or drugs, and I don't condone it at all, but if I am going to be going out and I decide to have a couple of drinks, honestly, it's so rare, but if I do, I always set an intention of, okay, I'm going to meet the people at their level. I want them to open up to me, and I ask Spirit to give me permission to like support them in some way if they're open to it, and may that lead into further healing for them or a big change in their life. Like, that's how I do it, and it always comes to fruition. It always is amazing. And people drink, and then they're, especially if I know, like, say I'm going to my old, world of, that's where I used to be at, and everyone expects me to be like that. I won't get hammered, but I'll have a few drinks, and then it's like, well, often my old guy mates, and they'll soften and they'll open up and they'll know everything about my world. And then I'm in, and I can support them. And then they'll message me a week or two later, and then we end up doing a session, and they'll come see me and they're like, don't tell the boys that I've come, so it's, yeah, I do it like that.
Awesome. And so talking about setting intentions, when you wake up in the morning, what does that look like? Are you early morning riser, get up before the sun comes up, sit in a state of meditation? What is your morning
Honestly,
practice?
I have no rules. Like, I should be doing all that all the time, but I mean, I live in the real world too of life and timings and my son and getting him to school and all of that. So my ritual really is I try and get up well before him, jump in the shower, just straight cleanse, do all the things, and then get him to school, and then I go into my ritual. So I always will go for a walk out in nature at the beach or in the bush and with my dog, and often, like, I'm quite a busy, scattered in a good way, energy.
Multidimensional?
Yes.
Do we call that multidimensional?
Yeah, like, people with ADHD, God, you could say that. But so I do a lot of my intention setting, meditation, get all my downloads when I'm out on that walk. I leave my phone in the car and I just, everything, that's my time. And then I get home and I'll do an oracle card for the day and just ask Spirit what it is I need to hear from them today, or what do I need to focus on, or it could be around intention. And then what does intention look like? I try and just set, because I am so got a million things going on, just one thing that I want to achieve that day. And that one thing could just be as simple as getting all the washing done and folded and put away. Or it could be like extremely spiritual. It could be, or I want to complete setting up this event today. Or because in between basically 10 or 9 till 2 that I have while Johnny's at school, it's like I'm seeing clients, I'm doing things like this, I'm planning events, and I'm now starting to work for other musicians and healers in the events world as well. So there's a lot going on. Yeah.
So let's talk into that space that you're now stepping into with the music side of things in your practice.
So for me, the top 3 things in my world that I absolutely love is live music, traveling, and obviously the people closest to me. So, and freedom that comes with the traveling and all of that. So I've always really been into, like, I used to host parties and have parties, and I was like always a social as person. And now it's like been getting into festivals, and now I facilitate workshops at festivals. And a lot of my friends are very talented musicians, and I've just got this real passion and drive to support and help them and get them out there and help them see a way for themselves to financially support themselves, but share their music medicine as well. So there's that side of it. And because I've put so much, I guess, love and energy into that, I've just networked and met the right people. And there's a guy, he's Australian, but he lives in Bali at the moment, called Santara, and he's a phenomenal sound healer. We'll maybe put the link in the comments here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he is amazing, sells out all his events based on this formula he's worked out. He's actually got a course you can do to have a look at it. It's very affordable anyway, which I'm looking at and working through. But he's just employed me as his chief of staff and manager and tour manager. So I'm going to be touring with him next year, India, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, Europe. So yeah, so I'm really stepping into that world to connect more with people, network. I'll be able to share my stuff in the pockets of time that we have, like we're planning out all of that. And then I've got Aaron working with me, who is an amazing singer-songwriter, musician, and brings such a beautiful energy to my workshop spaces. So for me, I've always used music in my workshops, but I've been pulling in the talent of my musician friends, like Ash Sales, he's done some with me, Joy DeMay, Coral, and now Aaron. And yeah, Aaron and I are creating a solid working plan together, where he will be coming to all of my workshops and doing the guided journeys, and we're going to be doing sound healings and all sorts of stuff, like similar to what Santara's doing too. What was the other part of that? Anyway, yeah, so I just had like a huge drive and passion to call in the talents of the musicians, because they are pure channels of source too. They are pulling through that, or not pulling, it's channeling through the sound in which the group needs in that moment, or the frequency, or the energy, or the words, whatever it is. And it always is just such a, I don't know, just brings such a different vibe and energy than just hitting play on Spotify,
Absolutely.
So how did you feel because you've been in a workshop with me with Aaron playing? How was that for you?
Yeah, beautiful. I personally am very similar to you. So my family are very musical. I've grown up in a very musical family, and especially being Māori, I mean, that's something that we we all are very much in touch with. It was a beautiful element to bring through, definitely. And also Luke Gordon, who you
Yes.
had on the guitar, that also brought another nice element. It was great to have that masculine energy in the room as well.
Yeah.
But because I was at your womb healing the weekend before, so that was a different space altogether as well. But it was great. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I'm just following my heart and my passions and my desires, and I guess my ability to use my energy, healing, psychic, intuitive skills to support these people, because obviously I really clear messages.
Yeah.
And I just love being around that energy of music and stuff. And I love facilitating and being the leader, but I also love being the support person as well. So, and letting people step in and shine. And that's ultimately, I guess, what I do in my workshops too, is letting people step into their power. I'm not like, it's all about me and watch me and I'm the guru. It's like, you are the guru in this space. And I'm just holding the space to let you be free and bring it through.
Yeah, which I did find. I thought it was amazing. It was great. Weekend retreat in Gisborne that we did was a real permission slip to step into your authentic gifts and self. So it was wonderful.
I like that. I like that quote. A real permission slip.
So, let's go back to your talking about that retreat, Shamanic Shock Release. So let's talk about the method that you use and how you came up with the name.
Like, I've got to be completely honest here that the method in which it comes from is the foundations from contact care. It's a formula we learn. I just figured out how to align that particular formula release with all the emotions, the emotion code. Then I figured out how you can take people back to their moment of trauma in a split second through their self-defense system and use the formula to release that out of all the energy, all the cells, every cell in the body, the field, everything. And it's like it just shifts the shock that's living in the body wherever it is. So Shamanic Shock Release came in because I've really danced with this word shamanic, because people put a lot of labeling on things. And I'm not a labeler. I use that word because it covers everything. A shaman works in all the realms. And that is what I do. Yeah, so I was there, the doors were open. I'm working in the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, to dimensional. And I use shamanic shock release in that. You can release shock from ancestors, you can release shock from souls and spirits that are getting around. You can release it from plants, from other energies. It's not just limited to the physical human experience. So I guess that's why the word shaman came in. Now, I've put it up before and someone said to me, are you Native American? No, I'm not. I'm Māori. I whakapapatu Rongo Wahine and Ngāti Kahungunu, which is Mahia, Hawke's Bay area. But the word shaman actually came from Asia originally. And if you look it up, it is. It's for me, it just was a word that covered all the bases. It just makes sense to me. It dropped in on the 1st of January and I was like, oh, that's the thing. Because when I've been doing this for so long now, and people ask what you do, and as you know, it's so hard to try and explain it, and you can't, and you're always bringing in new things and developing, and it's just like, oh, what do I do? And my tagline was release trauma, activate spiritual potential. That's kind of how I say it in a nutshell. But yeah, the shamanic shock release is releasing shock out of the self-defense system. And you might say, well, what does that actually do? Ultimately, the goal is to release dis-ease, physical disease, dis-ease, cancer, yes. Fibromyalgia, yes. These are the things I've actually done that I'm saying yes to. Sciatica, yes. Lumps, random lumps in the stomach, yes. Digestive problems, yes. Colitis, yes. What else has there been? Just concussion, all the things. Anxiety, depression, PTSD, psychosis. So going back to, sorry, I'm just channeling back into what Spirit's asking me to say here. It's like you're releasing that root cause, the trigger. Now, if we're talking about emotional things, now this is a topic I like, it often comes up to say, because a lot of people experience this, is infidelity, affairs, text messages, they've seen a message on their partner's phone and that's the trigger, and then whatever that unfolds, they break up, whatever. But then they get this new partner and those triggers are still there when it's completely invalid. Like, you don't have to, like, this person's not doing that or whatever, or they could be, but it's kind of like that. It's like going back to those exact moments of trauma and shock, getting the person to feel it, experience it, we release it. And a lot of people feel it kind of scared to go back to those places, but with me and what I do, it's literally split-second stuff. And then we talk it through. We might have to do a little bit of a guided journey to recreate that story, like make it the timeline and the vibration in which it should have been or which you would like it to be, so the energy changes in the body. We might do soul retrieval, so from an incident, say this is one that comes up a lot, of sexual abuse trauma, and going back to those, like taking parts of yourself back, giving theirs back, calling in your soul fragments from when that incident happened, clearing that space, clearing that house where it happened, you know, like all these types of things. Often when I start doing this work, the person will randomly like see that the person that harmed them come up, and then they can do some more clearing work, or they'll go for a drive and they'll drive past their old house and have this memory and they can shift it. So it's just like, it's just such a wide, once you unlock the screw of the shock and let it out, all these other things just happen and start just clearing naturally. And then it's like that anxiety or shock or feeling doesn't live in your body anymore, just doesn't come up. Like the memory will always be there of what happened, but the physical damage it's having in your body is not.
So it reminds me a lot of EMDR, so eye movement desensitization reprocessing. And when I look at that, when you talk about the reprocessing side of it, my question is, clearly there needs to be the reprocessing driving past the house and saying, you know, I'm safe now, you know, this I no longer need to be in the fight or flight mode response. Along that line, when you talk about doing the reprocessing side of things, so you've released the trauma that's been held in the body, then the reprocessing side where you're stomping, so I would say the tucker here, the stomping through the house, clearing the energy of what has taken place in the house. Does that need to be done in a physical? And do you need to be there to do that, or do you do that in between the realms of?
We just do it all
in
that moment. Yeah, and I do this all the time, house clearings and land clearings and stuff. Like, for me, going to sacred sites and doing sacred land clearings and that, I love being there. And that's when I've got to be there in person. When it's stuff like this, I don't. Like, I do so many house clearings, and like I even get people ringing me to do motels that have, like, you know, there's a lot of people go through motels, but also the motel space, like where there's a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? The government providing housing.
Oh, yes, yeah. I think I know what you mean.
Know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
Apologies, I don't mean ignorant. The words aren't coming into my brain properly. Yeah, so I get a lot of people like that ring me up and want me to just go in and check in, and I can really tap into anything or anyone or anyone's energy or what they're about or their trauma. And I know people are going to be like, you need permission. Well, it's like, yeah, well, I don't. I just see it. And I don't have to tell anyone. I don't have to say it, and I don't, because that's where you need permission. But it's like I just can, tap into all the realms with that stuff, which is it's a help when you're just trying to help, and it's not going to harm anyone. Yeah.
So let's talk into that. So for those that are already awakened or on their spiritual journey, what would you recommend they do to keep themselves protected and keep their energy protected in that kind of space?
You know, people always talk about crystals and sage and imagine a protection bubble and blah, 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 blah. You know what I've figured out? The best protection is healing yourself and expanding your energy field. Okay? I'm getting
Can we talk into that a bit further? Can we talk into that a bit further?
For sure. Like, obviously, like when I get in my car and drive, I ask for protection, and I actually like working with dragons, so a lot of the time it's my dragons and stuff. And sometimes when I go in the supermarket, I don't want to be seen, I don't want any energy, so I'll kind of cloak myself, an invisible cloak. Or if I'm going somewhere, just like a pub, say, I'll do the whole dome of protection and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's how you feel in your energy. Now, I would not go and do any sort of intense indigenous tribal land clearing work if I was feeling tired or down or upset or emotional or a couple of days before my period. On my period, wouldn't do it. Just wouldn't do it because my energy's not its highest vibration. Now, there's been times when I've done that and it's gotten a little bit hectic and I've had to go and sort it out, but it's always been a great learning lesson. But ultimately, to protect yourself and your energy is by expanding your energy field. Health, it's the 3 pillars. I call it the Trinity: physical, emotional, spiritual. So simple. It's so simple. It's just bringing you back to actual normality of the 3D world almost. Look after yourself. Exercise. Are you putting life force food in your body? Are you doing all the things to feel as vibrant and happy as you can? Because that's the thing that's going to protect you. And people ask me, like, don't you get tired from this? Don't you get that? Nah. Nothing affects me unless I'm having, usually for me it's an emotional thing, like something that's happening in my world that I'm navigating. Like, could be relationships, could be to do with family, could be to do with my son, whatever. Or like, say someone close to you passes or something like that. Ultimately, 9 times out of 10, I don't feel like I really need to do the whole protection thing because my energy field's so large and I'm protected. But for those, like you say, starting out, is setting the intention, cleansing, clearing yourself, having a crystal that you've intentionally put the energy into that it protects you. All those things are beautiful and great practice, but they're not my belief, and it's just my belief and my truth is that expanding your energy field is the best protection.
Well, from my understanding of healing is healers hold the space of a healed space. And that's really clearly because I am also a healer, we just hold that space and then it's actually the other being, the other light being, the other human that actually does the healing. So it's really just holding that space and then matching that frequency.
Totally.
So how can you do that if you're feeling wounded? And also you shouldn't be doing that if you're in a wounded space because you're only going to draw out more of that wounded energy.
Look, I don't really want to comment on that too much because my personal beliefs on that, there's a lot of people doing healing work out there that potentially shouldn't be because of their mental health or because of just whatever reason. But in saying that, and I'm just going to talk about the physically wounded or people that are in a lot of pain, say. I'm not going to talk about the mental side of it just yet. Sometimes their healing abilities or channeling abilities are still really, really powerful and actually make their bodies feel better when they're doing it. So, like, I don't know, like I said at the start, I'm not one for blanket rules. I just go off my own truth. Like, for me, I wouldn't really want to work with someone who's not well in themselves, who's not looking after themselves. Like, I kind of want to work with people who are leading by example, but then absolutely. Everyone is also having a human experience and we are having to manage and juggle, and there's no one that's like on this higher plane that's like, we've all got our shit and it all comes and goes at different times. It's just when you are holding that space, trusting that you are holding that space, your stuff is somewhere in a box and you're protected and you've got your spiritual team, your ancestors, your tipuna around you and stuff helping you hold that space. And in the space of holding space, whether it's one-on-one or in a group, I'm going to talk about a group setting, I feel like that's even more stronger, powerful and safe because it's all about the intention we're setting and everyone else's guides are there, and this just creates this massive energy field of domed, safe protection. That's what it feels like. Nothing, for me, nothing bad ever really seems to come up. Like, it comes up and it comes out, but it's gone and everyone walks away feeling pretty good. And if they're not, it's probably we just need to work on some what I call drainage points, just letting the shock come out of the body a bit faster rather than having to process through it longer. But yeah, I don't know, hopefully that answered your question.
So let's talk into it's wanting to disappear. Let's not talk into that. Let's talk about what has been a really, like, one of your most amazing, like, wow moments in this space.
Shit, there's like so many.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I'm just getting really emotional because I have so many wow moments that I can't even really, I could write a whole book on my wow moments, but the one that's coming in was I did this journey from Darwin to Cairns in a camper van with a friend of mine, Dallas Steele. He's a country music musician in Australia. And it was just after COVID. I was just able to get into Australia. Hadn't met him in person before. We'd lots of mutual friends and contacts, and we'd been in touch online, and he asked me to tour with him. I mean, I haven't even talked about this, but I lived in the outback of the Kimberleys in the Northern Territory for 5 years prior to COVID, prior to my son being born, and I was just craving going back there, like just dying to go back. And so when this opportunity arose, we did it. We got a camper van and we drove from Darwin to Cairns, and across that journey there was so many moments of connecting with Aboriginal spirits and them taking me through initiations and acceptance and telling me who I was in their world. It's like so emotional, so powerful. But the one moment that my guide is telling me to share is that we got to Cairns, to this place called Milla Falls. And I'd been seeing these falls in this place for a while. This big Aboriginal woman and man was showing me for a long time. I'd go sit on the beach at Mount Maunganui and look across to Australia and just get shown a lot. I turned up at this waterfall and poor Dallas, I'd just be like, I've got to go here, and I'm gone. Like, he's just like, wait for me, I'm bare feet, bashing through the bush, like, I'm not worried about snakes or anything. I just, like, I just know where I've got to go, and I just go. And I was in behind the waterfall with my eyes closed, and I was getting this cleansing, this initiation, and this Aboriginal spirit came up to me, this man, and he was all painted in white and long hair, and he basically just told me, I'm invited to be here, I'm accepted here. They see me, they know who I am, and they said, you're the white woman in the dreaming. And I just I just bawled my eyes out, and it's just like this knowing, and to be called in and accepted from such an ancient culture is pretty special. And I've had so many special moments like that with the Aboriginal spirits. Their love is so strong, like it's the strongest love you'll ever feel, different to the spiritual energy here in New Zealand. And I've just done a lot of work with them now going forward. There's been so many other moments of just pure love and bliss. It's like when I step foot on Australia, that's just the feeling I have. And I mean, there's been moments of I did a healing in this hot spring of this woman. I took her on a journey across Australia, a soul retrieval journey, and trying to pull her out of her suicidal psychosis. And one of the moments was we did this big womb healing, and she just started bleeding pretty much within that hour of the clearing of the womb. And I got her into the hot springs because the woman used to do healing in the springs, and we were in there and I was holding her in the water, and we could both see and feel the energy of the rainbow serpent. It was so powerful. We were both shaking and crying. And then when we finished the healing, we looked up, and on the rock right next to us was a rainbow feather from a bird, and see, like, I don't know if you can feel it, but it's just come like the waves of goosebumps and emotion is just so intense, like, so that's my other moments. Like, I've been, and there's one other moment on that trip I felt really angry. I was really angry and sad, and I don't get angry or sad often, and I knew it wasn't mine, and I just thought it was Dallas pissing me off or something. I went and lay in the camper van just to get away because everyone was drinking and I wasn't. I was sitting with spirit. I was out on a cattle station in between Darwin and Catherine, and I was laying there, and suddenly I could hear Didge playing in my ears. And I was in this beautiful dress, bare feet. I just got up and I
Didgeridoo, mate?
Yeah, you do. Sorry, I got up and I just hightailed it into the bush. I don't know where I was going. I just followed spirit. They just took me. And you say, what does that look like or feel like? It's like a magnetic pull. You just kind of pull. And I ended up at a waterhole. And it was this whole corroboree initiation. And energetically, magnetically, they're trying to push me into the water. And it was like middle of dry season. So I wasn't. And that means the water's stagnant, not clear or nice. So I was like, nah, I'm not getting in there. And that's when I had to wait for that initiation at the waterfall at Milla Falls, which turns out to be, Milla Falls was where all the ancient healing was done. In those waters. And then another time, a few months later, I came back to that spot and I did a healing on a guy, Sam O'Connor. Was a pro bull rider. This will be one of my most amazing moments, actually. He got scorpion bull riding in his leg bent, like his body bent right back, and the bull stood on him and snapped his back, and he's paralyzed. I did a healing on him at his brother's farm in the bull ring with all his gear that he was wearing in that moment. And he started getting feeling into his legs and electric shocks and stuff going through his legs. Then I took him to Milla and bathed him in the water and held him in the water, and we channeled the ancient spirits, the Aboriginal spirits of the waters and all the things. And again, he was feeling heat and pins and needles in his legs in those waters. So that's something I really want to do is really get into that ancient shamanic healing work in the waters with the Aboriginal spirits, because that's my resonance, that's where my love is, my power, my support team, you know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, sorry, talking for hours.
No, it's great. It's perfect.
Not many people get to hear these stories because, yeah, I mean, I've shared them as I've gone along, but there's just so much in there.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Moving forward, so you're traveling next year. Do you have any other changes that are coming into your practice, or is there anything else?
The main changes that are coming is the way in which we run the workshops and bringing in that live sound. And we're actually going to be doing more sound journey type workshops and guided meditation workshops. And not workshops like, sound
throughout the workshop.
No, just offering shorter, more affordable ones, and then leading into the 2-day workshop if you want to learn or go in a deep dive of deep healing. I'm also putting together at the moment, it's reminding me I need to do this today, put together a online workshop to take you through the shamanic shock release of each emotion and each meridian and each organ and what disease it relates to. So it's going to be a real training, educational program, whether that's live or whether it probably will be live to begin with, but then develop it into a course so people can actually just listen to me and work their way through the modules themselves. That's what I really need to do. So yeah, that's basically the work. I mean, there's always one-on-ones, but they will be way peeling back because obviously there's going to be the purpose of working with Santara is learning more in the healing arts, learning off someone else. I've been sitting in the space of me being the teacher for a long time, and I'm ready to step into the space of stepping it up and working with someone with where I want to be, surrounding myself with very high vibrational, powerful people, loving people, doing everything from a great heart and intention, living out their purpose. I want to step back into it's like a sabbatical of learning for the next 2 years. So whatever is coming from me won't be coming as thick and fast, but there will be pockets of it over the next, I'm just going to say year. I don't like 2 years, feels like too long to talk about. But yeah, so that's what's happening. And I will be sharing a lot of the nuggets from Santara, like his how to sell out your spiritual events is just like, he sells out every event, just from this formula of what he's worked out on Eventbrite and how to market it at the back end from Facebook ads and the lead-in time and what to do specifically and da-da-da. So that's like $497 US at the moment.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's like, I just want every person that's holding space that's struggling to sell out their events and like thinking about giving up to invest in that, because yeah, it's freaking doing wonders.
The golden ticket.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, before we go, because we've probably got we've got just a little bit more time left, but what are your views on the 3D, 5D, 6D, this kind of stuff that's going on at the moment? Tell me about.
You asked me that question. I'm pretty left field of most spiritual healers, I'd say. Well, I shouldn't say most because I don't know all of them, but it's like sometimes I'm living in the 3D because of my frequency, because I'm in a lower frequency. It's all about your frequency. At the moment, I feel like I'm fully in 5th dimension or more because I'm in my purpose talking about this high vibrational stuff. I feel great. You probably feel great because it's just so fucking interesting and cool, and just I can talk to the cows come home and this stuff. It's what I love, sitting in love. So the dimensional stuff is a frequency. It's not a physical place, mate. People think, oh, we're going to the 5th dimension, we're going to be teleported somewhere. No. It's a feeling. It's a frequency. You want to be living in those planes? Do the work. And staying out of the third dimension is we're landed here, we're in this third dimension, but you can be feeling the energy of the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the 11th. I tend to jump to the 11th dimension. It's where the dragons hang out. But the interesting thing about dimensions is what I got downloaded the other day. I was driving from my home into Whangarei, and it came to me that we drive through, our cars are like teleportation devices, and we drive through dimensions all the time. So you'll be driving through low vibrational frequency places, say like, I don't want to give labels.
Where there's a lot of poverty or there's a lot of crime.
Yes. That's what I was going to...
Yeah.
Say, don't
give an area. No, don't do that.
Like and so you do, and you feel it, and then you drive through a place like, say, Raglan, that's just got this cool vibe, energy. Same with like, just where I'm out at Tutakaka, Nungaro, it's like just got this high vibrational energy. But then when you walk into, say, a dairy where everyone's kind of there and there's people there, there's addicts, there's alcoholics, there's all the dimensional people all in one place, but it's just like this, it's a feeling, you know, like, and when you're living in your purpose and your energy field is expanded and you're not having to deal with the harder, lower frequency emotions as much, you tend to not live in that world. It doesn't really come in. Like, I don't have much stress or drama or, you know, hard stuff going on because of the way I've chosen to live, the choices I make every day. So it comes down to, are you lucky because you did this? It's like, I wasn't always like this. It's what you choose every day. You choose gratitude, choose to be happy. Well, it's hard to be just happy. Yeah, I know. Choose how you start your day with gratitude. Like, if you start seeing the good in everything, that will be reflected back to you. But if you're always living in victimhood and blame and poor me, well, it's just, you're just going to keep attracting that. And I know that sounds pretty harsh to hear, but it's reality. Sorry about it. Like, if you want to learn how to get up out of that and change that, I've helped thousands of people, but you actually have to do the work. I'll just give you the tools and the, you know, solutions or the messages I'm getting from your higher self to suggest what you need to do to support yourself. And it's different for each person, you know? Yeah.
What are your views on being a co-creator with Source?
I just think we are, but we are also Source. Lives within us. We are everything we need. We have all our own answers and truths and powers. It's just that source energy wants to be acknowledged and remembered that it's there. So you tune into it whichever way feels aligned to you. And for me, tuning into source energy is like my higher self, connecting straight to my soul's knowing, and then where my soul was created and where that's come from, that source. That's my view on it. Sometimes we use external energies like archangels or ascended masters or spirit guides or ancestors or dragons or whatever you want to talk about. They're all there to support us and help us. It's like, I see everything in the spiritual world exactly the same as in the physical, in terms of like, okay, I could go and learn to be a mechanic and fix my car. Can I be fucked? Am I interested in that? No. So I'm going to call in this person, this entity, this energy, and I'm going to create an energy exchange with them to help me fix a problem. You know what I mean? It's not an internal problem on my body, but it's like you're calling in different people to support with different things. It's like, so within the energy healing world or healing world, you're going to call on people that might have a bit more experience or knowledge in you in a certain area. They'll help you shift it. You've given them permission, the mindset, the openness to help work with whatever. But then it's going to give you the download of that awareness of what that is and knowing how to potentially do it yourself. And then you can support someone else. You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
I do.
I've gone on a tangent, but yeah, that's how I see co-creating with sources. Just acknowledging it and starting to use it.
And bringing all of the collective energies in that have been before and that are all there.
Yeah, what's your take on it?
Co-creative. So I think a lot of very similar to what you're saying along the lines of we are all source, we are all co-creating. So I think what triggered that question was where attention goes, energy flows. And it's along the same lines of when we're talking about healing, and when you're in a space of feeling whole and complete and you're healing others, then you're giving off that same frequency. So my understanding is that we are all energy and everything is energy. So when we're putting the right energy out there, we're getting the right energy back. And along the lines of, there are, like in the spirit world, there are other ascended masters, archangels, whatever the labels are that we want to use to bring in those right energies to be able to do the work that needs to be done in that time and space. And regarding creating with source, that it is about getting into a space of understanding that wherever we focus is what we're going to manifest into our 3D reality. So it's about controlling those thoughts and aligning yourself with what it is that you want versus aligning yourself with giving the energy and your power over to what you don't want.
Yeah. And, you know, we could talk for hours about a lot of things, but the two things that were coming in as you were speaking was, I just want to share a little bit about my journey, and I see it as the Trinity, the physical, the spiritual, emotional. Spiritual and emotional, I've been very good and balanced for a long time. Physical, I have not been. So ultimately, you want to be working on all the things, but if you're feeling good in, if you're feeling good in the physical and you're doing, like, the physical has a big part to play because that's where we are. We are literally, we're all energy and all the things, but we're actually a physical being here having a human experience.
Okay.
But we often forget about looking after the physical side. Or there'll be some people, like, I'm just thinking of like CrossFitters, stuff like that, like really focused on that physical.
So disconnected from there.
Spiritually, are they good? Probably not. And then you're looking at, so for me, I'm really focusing on the physical, the way in which I want to change my physical body this year. Like these, I've been working on it for a while now, since about April. And just simplifying. I've just said no to sugar. I've just said no to gluten. I've said no to dairy. And just those simple changes, and just yes to walking or running in nature every day, and I'm doing a bit of like 15 minutes of like yoga stretching and Pilates, and a little bit of calisthenics. But again, the downfall for me has always been trying to have strict rules, and then it just doesn't work in my Aries mind, doesn't work for me. So the way in which I'm changing is just not creating actually any rules around it. It's just focusing on the energy of intuitiveness and eating, and like really dropping into grounded presence of how does that make me feel. Like,
Perfect.
and afterwards, say if I do eat some gluten or something, it's like going back to when I was giving up alcohol. It just makes me tired and lethargic, and I hate the way I feel. I love the way I feel when I fast, and I love the way I feel when I'm putting high vibrational food into my body.
Well, that's another rabbit hole we could go down too, isn't it?
Yeah. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not perfect, and I've got lots of shit to work on. A lot of it is in the physical now. And then emotionally, triggers and traumas from child and past life stuff, not past life, but past life in this life, come up. And usually when I'm working with people like you, Catherine, or when I'm in a workshop that I'm holding, I'll be like, oh shit, okay, this is what I need to work on now. And I'll do it in whichever way it needs to be done, whether it's just me individually. But I like to seek out other healers because I like to learn from other healers and what they're doing and what they've learned, because usually I get the download and it supports, it's another tool in the box, and you get to shift your energy and all of that. So anyway, I just wanted to put that in there, that's by no means do I think I'm completely healed or perfect.
And that there is, it's all the layers. It's not when you become spiritual, you no longer need to worry about your physical. It's with the whole package, and we are here having our human experience for a reason. We haven't incarnated into a human vessel to not look after it and have it as our space of being a temple, because we all do that. We don't all do that. But it's something that we need to focus on a little bit more. We all need a bit of that.
And like that's, if there's any, one-on-one sessions I do, and a passion project of mine is like helping people be accountable for their goal, whether that's meeting the right partner, like relationship stuff, whether that's losing weight, physical, whatever it is, or activate, like stepping into their mediumship, or da-da-da-da-da. It's like, I just like being that accountability coach and just helping people gain their confidence and stuff.
Because we haven't really spoken much about your Activate Academy. Is that the name? Activate Angels Academy. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, that's been a 12-month program I've been running. It wraps up in October, and I'm just looking at how I'm going to reset that up, if I do, for this next year, depending on my schedule. I've really, in November I'll know. But that was a 12-month program where I had people in monthly calls with me, and we set goal at the start. What's your goal or goals? Most of them achieved their goals actually in the first month. It was mental, so we had to keep revisiting that. They're obviously in a group chat, and I was doing I do sort of random sporadic live activations, guided meditations and downloads on the private group, Facebook group, so you can just jump in and watch those anytime. And monthly Q&A, so we have 2 hour sessions where we're all in together. So that was that side of it. Now the value that was added to it was that they could come to any of my Shamanic Shock Release courses or my Introduction to the Healing Arts courses or any online courses, retreat stuff, was all just included and in the cost. And the only times I'd have to pay anything extra was for food or if we're doing extra accommodation and stuff like that. But yeah, they got to come, and the first couple of courses for them was more like sitting there receiving learning, and then it was boom, deep end. You're holding space here, you're doing that there, that person's kicking off, I need you to go out, support that. It's just a place where they activated all their gifts, given them their confidence to step in and be the healers they're here to be, or step into the space of teaching them how to hold their own workshops and retreats and stuff like that. So it's just bringing them along for the journey.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that's what this year's mentorship was about. And all the one-on-ones and the group calls and that, they're all good and really beneficial, but the magic's in the real life stuff. And that's me. I'm real life. We can do online stuff as it's needed in terms of just accessibility and stuff like that. But if I had it my way, I'd be in person with everyone every weekend doing this stuff. And that's why I'm jumping in with Santara, because I get to be tour managing in person with him, with his people, and I get to speak to them at the beginning, at the end. I'll be emceeing as well, and just creating a whole new world of connections. And in amongst the tours, I'll be offering healings and stuff as well for anything that comes up for them in the healings. And so it's collaborating a wee bit, but yeah, it's just merging in a way that I've sort of manifested that. I've said for a long time I said I always want to tour with a band and be like their medicine lady. If they get a sore shoulder and playing guitar, I can do contact care and release. I've been manifesting this for a long time, and then sort of in the last 12 months, my mates have been like, oh my God, can you be my manager? You should be my manager. You're so good at networking and connecting. And then it's just kind of happened, and I'm like, cool, I get to get paid to travel and go on the road and do spiritual stuff and meet people, and I don't have to
do the admin stuff.
I've got to do some admin stuff. I've got to do all the bookings and stuff, but that's all right. That's fun. So yeah, I guess what I'm alluding to say is everything I've had thoughts about in the last 7 years that I've wanted to create and manifest. I mean, apart from winning lotto, I have tried doing the numbers, didn't work.
I don't understand why
I haven't. I have manifested, and it's fucking unreal when you sit back and look back at holy shit, I wanted this and now it's here. And when you want it now. But it's you've got to wait for that timeline to unfold. And then when it does, remembering to stop and be grateful and recognize your achievements. Yeah.
Amazing. We could just keep talking and talking and talking, but I know you have other things to get to. So I want to say thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Catherine. It's fun. We can do this anytime. Any topic. On the Crystal Catherine podcast for a while.
Perfect.
I'm going to interview you. Funny.
Sounds great.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you
Lovely
so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.